We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Progressive HR Live. I'm your host today, Corrine Woodman-Hallebeck. I'm here with my guest, Mindy Hancoop from,
Austin,
CPO in
Texas.
Transition, Austin, Texas. Yes. Happy Chinese Lunar New Year, everyone. It is the year of the tiger, and it is a roaring start to 2022. If David Marlowe is on the stream, he'll like that nice little pun there. So everyone, welcome again to Progressive HR Live. I'm here with Mindy Hancoop. I'm Corrine Woodman-Hallebeck, your host. Please say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're streaming from, and give us some thumbs up and share this if you know of anybody that would like to be part of the stream. So, Mindy, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm good.
So what's it like in Texas right now, like the weather-wise?
It is a little bit rainy, damp, cold, and you never know what you're going to expect. I think I saw a winter advisory on my phone this morning, so
Jeez.
we'll see.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm in Wisconsin, and as I was telling Mindy, it is super, super dry here. Like usually we have like 12 inches or so of snow by this time of year. We have maybe 4. And today is very spring-like. So it's like 40 degrees, and so we're watching the snow melt. So now we'll have even less on the ground. So let's go to our audience and see who's tuning in today. Oh my goodness. So we have a LinkedIn user, Wisconsin, here in the crowd. Awesome. And John Horn from North Hollywood. I'm going to look to my phone real quick and see. My phone is giving me a little bit of problems here. Tell me who. Oh, Kathy Wright. Kathy Wright from Wisconsin joining in here. Let's get back that way. So this is Kathy Wright. And then hi, how are you, Marnie? Joining from Texas. Winter is so coming. Yes. And we have Jessica Donahue. Good morning. Another Wisconsin in the house. And looks like we have somebody. Oh my goodness. So we have a little bit of a person in the chat right now trying to draw everybody off the stream with a link. Do not click this link. This is a hacker. Not a hacker. This is what do you call it when someone spammer? This is a spammer. So don't click that link. When Mindy starts answering some questions, I am going to hide that content then. Oh my goodness, we have so many people joining us today. Christine, hello, how are you? We have Paula joining in. Hi, Paula. And see, there's the spammer there. And we have Christopher from New Mexico. Hello, everyone. Awesome. Okay. So now that we've all we got another one here. Brenda says hello. We have so many people joining us today. Fantastic. So if you're just joining now, please let us know in the comments who you are and where you're joining from. And as well, please ignore that spammer with all the links. He's just trying to draw you off the stream. This has been happening a lot lately on LinkedIn, so please ignore that spammer. Brenda says, good morning. Good morning. All right. Let's get into our questions here. So, Mindy, you wrote an article for HR.com this month on trends that will shape 2022. What trend do you consider to be a priority for reimagining our people function?
Yeah, I think out of the ones that I've mentioned, we really need to. I think the most important is the one around reimagining the workplace value proposition, especially after the recent data that we've seen come in from our labor department, which shows that unincorporated self-employed workers, that number has risen by 500,000 since the start of the pandemic, which was quite startling. It's like we can see that, and then to see the data really supports that. We had a talent shortage already going into the pandemic, and then through the pandemic, people now are able to start individually creating content on all the numerous platforms that we have today, which is really exciting, and be able to generate their own income. So going to the workplace in the past, the value proposition primarily was payroll and benefits. And now in the future, to be able to attract and retain our great talent, to keep the workplace we need to think about, what is that value proposition? Why do people want to come to work here? And what is the value that we're bringing to our employees, whether that's through meaningful connection, being able to connect with like-minded thought leaders, being able to have opportunities to grow in their career paths and provide opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have had on their own.
Thanks, Mindy. And that gave me a little time there to block that fake account. So if you have any questions or comments for us or for Mindy, please add them to the comments and we'll respond live. So we've had a few more people join us. Melissa from Phoenix. Hi, Melissa. And Ben from Denver. Hi, Ben. So going back to our questions. Actually, you know what? I feel like I want to do an audience poll. What do you think, Mindy? Should we do an audience
This
poll?
is great.
Awesome. Okay, so audience, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in your organization with reimagining the people function? With 1 being, no, nothing, I haven't thought of this yet, that hasn't even, we're still just trying to work through things with the pandemic, to 10 being 100%, we've taken every step we possibly can to be a people first organization in this paradigm of new work ways. So go ahead and answer the poll in the comments, and we will go on to our next question. So Mindy, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. So you're frozen on my screen, but technology, gotta love it. So we will keep going on here. So in a recent the New Yorker article, Derv Kaler states that in this crisis, referring to the pandemic, that there have been many, many rites of passages. We don't passively recite our lines, we write them, we take vows of ownership, and that reverberates for decades. So we've made real changes in our lives, and then we can make them in society, to building capacity so our institutions can be more resilient and more flexible. What would you say to this statement in relation to our investments in the people function and the statement of being a people first organization?
Yeah, I think it's ever more important to think about how, like we were just talking about, that workplace value proposition. And if we are people first, being able to articulate, and what does that mean? And we need to do this in order to keep our workplaces thriving. Otherwise, it'll become just another statistic. I mean, we also see in the data that the lifespan of companies used to be 61 years in 1958. And this was a recent McKinsey research data that found that, and they also stated that today that lifespan is only 18 years, and they believe in 2027 that 75% of companies that are currently quoted on the S&P won't even exist. They'll disappear. 75%. That's amazing. And so to keep these great workplaces that we have, there's so many companies that are starting every year with great ideas. How can we keep them thriving and alive, and really enter into that infinite mindset? What is that just cause? What gets people excited about going to work is about being a part of something greater, being able to create something that's built to last. And people first organizations with that infinite growth mindset are the ones that are going to be able to be agile, to be able to be flexible. They're going to be listening to their employees and really understanding, what do we together, what is that difference that we can make for our end consumer and customer in mind, versus having an finite mindset around win or loss, and which really starts to give us many blind spots and keeps us from being able to be flexible, because we're not hearing from everyone. We can start making really short-sighted decisions.
I 100% agree there, 100%. We have had so many people responding to the poll here. So we're going to go to our comments, and apologies everybody if some of the frame is freezing, technical difficulties this morning. Again, technology. So John says he's about a 4. Thanks for taking the poll, John. And then I believe this is Kathy Wright. She said around about a 3 is the organization. Excuse me. And then Paula says 10, people first. Oh, great job. Paula, what company do you work with? And then Brenda is in with 6. So a great range of, Oh, we've got one more here. Michelle says she's in, her organization is in with an 8. So if you just joined us now, I'm with Kareen Woodman-Hollebeck, the host of Progressive HR Live, and I'm talking with Mindy Honkoop today. We're talking about CPO and transition and reimagining a people function. So we're going to get now into more questions for Mindy about reimagining the people function and the People First organization. If you have any questions for Mindy, please go ahead and add them to the comments and we'll answer them live. All right, so to our next question here. In a recent LinkedIn post, you stated, "We will need to keep innovating to remain competitive while maintaining healthy workplaces in tight labor markets." So what advice do you have for people in the people profession that are considering transitioning because they feel stuck? They feel like their organization is maybe not listening to their employee voice, that they're profit over people. What advice do you have?
This is such a great question. And what I love about being in the people function is that there are so many amazing peers that I have, and everyone brings their own unique superpowers. I think each people leader I've met has a different unique superpower than the next one standing by them. And each company really has its own unique ecosystem and culture and its own set of challenges that require a different set of people leader capabilities. And as a people leader, being able to take a step back and really understand who are we, what do we value, what do we enjoy, and what are strengths, that can then really help us as we go in and look at the ecosystem of a workplace. Where are we going to best fit and align? Where are our strengths going to tie to the capabilities that they need? Then also being able to be aware of this helps us understand that there may be a time and place as a company evolves that they may outgrow, or they may no longer need the set of capabilities that we have or that we enjoy bringing, and be able to know what that is for us so that we can clearly articulate that in order to work with our executive teams to be able, as we grow, to be able to set with that infinite mindset, be able to set that company up to be successful. Some HR leaders are able to bend and flex and grow as the company evolves, but I also know some peers that they really enjoy a specific size company, a specific area that they are really great at. And then as the company outgrows what that capability is for them, they are able then to set up a succession plan, a transition, to find the person that's going to be able to have the company move to that next stage of their life. And it's a positive thing, because truly it's not about the person being incapable. It's really about understanding where you and your superpowers best fit, where that company's capabilities are. And then just being able to align value set is also so important. I feel like if we're not clear on what our values are and how they align with the companies that we're supporting, we can often feel that we start to come up against a cement wall and we're trying to make something work that the organization just isn't invested in, because it's a misalignment of values.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I was just thinking the other day about your post and talking about the misalignment of values. And I really feel like you've educated me a lot on this. It's okay not to be a people first, to say that you're not a people first organization, but own it, and we don't all have to be people first organizations. But, because everybody's an individual, and there's certain organizations where certain people fit, and there's certain organizations where certain people don't fit. And so just again, going back to the individuality is like, let's not try to be everything to everybody. Let's just try to be us. So.
Exactly.
Excellent. So just checking in with the audience, anybody have any questions or comments for Mindy? If not, we're going to keep rolling with the questions here. All right. So Mindy, I like Daniel Pink. I love Daniel Pink. You kind of introduced me to Adam Grant. I know I'm segueing here, but I also want to mention that I've started reading a lot of Adam Grant. So going back to Daniel Pink. In Daniel Pink's article, 3 Employers' New Year's Resolutions, number 2 is democratize decision-making within the organization. So what impact will this make for organizations?
So important. It's about going back to what we talked about earlier. In order to rethink that value proposition, we do need to bring down the decision making. How are we hearing from our employees? How are we actually listening to them throughout the process and everything that we're doing? How can we incorporate their voice into the strategic plan, where we are today, where we're moving forward, being able to truly open up an opportunity for us to create the space for us to hear from all the unique talent that we're hiring, for them to be able to feel like a part of something is exciting. It actually gets our healthy brain chemicals going in the morning if we do feel like we're part of something greater, and that I add value to something because I'm being heard and my voice matters. That's really powerful. And we're able to actually think outside of just groupthink happening. If we're able to truly listen to our employees, be able to create the feedback channels and be able to iterate on what we're doing and not become static, to be able to create the opportunity in which we are able to bounce ideas, get the feedback from our employees to create a better customer experience. I think at all levels within the organization, if we start to do this, then culture doesn't just land as the priority or the owner within the people team. Culture truly is all of us. We all need to show up. We all are leaders, starting with leading ourselves. And how in an organization, if we give the space, how are we as leaders, as even individual contributors, changing that workplace every day as we step into it? And in organizations that democratize the decision making and are able to articulate the value that people add and that voice, they are more able to be successful and thrive and continue to flex as the needs of, their customers change.
Oh yeah, 100%. And interesting that we're talking about this now, because next episode of Progressive HR Live, we're going to have Robert Brown on, and he's a very, very interesting voice in regards to employee listening. And one of the things he says is that, um, you know, we talk about employee experience a lot, and employee experience is great, but people don't want employee experience. They want human experience.
Mhm.
So that really, really ties into this idea of democratizing decision making within the organization. And I think we're going to see a lot more technology coming through to help us with that, because that's a big, big issue, a solution that needs to issue that needs to find a solution. So
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes it can be overwhelming thinking, like, how do we do this? And some of the recent books, you talked about Adam Grant, and I just recently read his book, Think Again, and it had some really practical, tactical ideas in there about how organizations and individuals can rethink what we are doing in a way that doesn't feel scary. After reading that book, I felt like there are some things that you can go and action and do, like, for example, creating a challenge network to be able to, bounce ideas off of and make sure that you're hearing from different like viewpoints, to make sure that you're not missing something and that you don't have any blind spots, and that you're not just surrounding people that think like you, because then you definitely are going to miss something, because we are all fallible, and we all have our own experiences, and the unique experiences that everyone brings that helps lead us to better ideas. That's why I also like HR user-led design, to be able to help facilitate some of those channels, to be able to help have employees have a voice and to be able to make it actionable.
yeah, I was just celebrating your comment there on the phone. So we've had a comment come in from Paula. Paula says she is a consultant for the spa and sauna company. And then she also said that we're having a management alignment meeting on Thursday. So this is very timely and accurate information. Thanks for that, Paula. Appreciate it. So I'm going to go on to the next question. And so this has to be my favorite question out of all the questions that you and I have decided to talk about, is Tom Hack's 14 megatrends. So Tom Hack, he said that he wrote an article, and he included the 14 megatrends for HR. And then he wrote a recent article, which was the 10 trends for HR in 2022. So, but I'm going to ask about from Tom Hack's 14 mega trends that will shape HR, what is the one mega trend that resonates most with you and your HR practice?
And this is like the best question. And it was so difficult because all 14 things really are awesome. When I was walking through this, I literally think I commented on each of the 14 of why important to me, and to select just one was very difficult. I think that what resonated from me and what he was saying is really thinking about our workplaces as an ecosystem and how the people team can really come in with the knowledge that they have of humans, of being able to analyze the workplace ecosystem and to be able to think about how as an ecosystem with the humans in this ecosystem, how have we set them up or have we not set them up to thrive? Where are the blockers to success? Where do we have the breakdowns in trust? The psychological safety? Those are the things that are really at the basic foundation. If those things within the ecosystem aren't doing well, that nothing else can really, it's going to be, everything is going to be harder. And so, being as a people team, to be able to take a step back with our executive team and really be able to think about how what we are dropping into that ecosystem, what are the impacts to the ecosystem, and is it ready for us to drop that in? Or do we need to make it more resilient first before we drop something into the ecosystem? So really understanding the strength and health of the ecosystem and what can we do to make sure that we have set it up to be agile and it's ready to receive change, and how to support it through that change. I think the people team really has the opportunity to be that operational glue. I often think if the company as an ecosystem with all of us as our unique humans coming with our strengths, our own instruments in a symphony, that the people team can really be the conductor of that symphony to create an amazing a musical composition.
I love your analogies.
Thanks.
I think this is the clip I'm going to take to show on LinkedIn when after we do the replay. So, audience, before I talk about my favorite megatrend, if you've read Tom Hack's 14 megatrends for HR, what is your favorite megatrend? And if you haven't read the megatrend, what's your favorite megatrend that you kind of see happening in 2022 for HR? So mine is the end of the employee. So a lot of people know that I talk about the creator economy and how people are moving into more of an ownership role of what they produce, and that the employment contract is broken. And so this, we've been using the term worker for a while, but now, looking at, is it really the end of the employee? So the idea that we won't be employing people anymore in the sense of the employment contract with pay and benefits, but that we'll be we'll be contracting them, not necessarily in a 1099 sense, but contracting them for their specific skill set to work solely on projects. So that was the megatrend that I was most interested in.
Yeah.
So we have a comment from the audience. This is Kathy, and she said, I misunderstood the first question. Excuse me. I misunderstood the first question. As you talk more, we are definitely higher on the scale than a 3. I would say an 8. Okay, great. And then Melissa says that her trend is focusing on a meaningful employee experience and focus on personalized approach. Yes, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you about the other mega trend. I don't know if you, how I didn't see this on your list, but the idea that HR will be split into 3 functions.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, the HR strategy, I got to look at my notes because I don't exactly remember. Okay, so HR operations. So it'll be HR operations split, HR strategy split, and people first split.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think we're going towards a split in HR?
I think that's really fascinating because I think for people first, I feel like that should be in everything that we do, like in whatever splits that we have. I would have thought the third split might be talent acquisition. And even I've seen some companies put talent acquisition underneath marketing, which I thought was very interesting, because everything that we do should be, if the organization truly is people first and not just a sticker that they have on their website, if they truly are people first, then that should be at the top of all of our minds and woven into everything that we're doing, no matter which division that we are in. But yes, I do think that I see the talent acquisition, our HR strategic partnership, and the operational piece being kind of three natural buckets that fall within the people team organization. And how do we make sure, because the employee experience is so woven into what everyone is doing, how do we make sure not to silo these things? Because I do think that it's beneficial to from a people talent workplace strategy planning, that the people within these three buckets need to work very closely as one team to make sure that we truly are creating a people first organization. And kind of going back to what you were saying too, I think the operational and systems piece is ever more important, because if we do have the opportunity to do like an internal Upwork, for example, when I hear what you're talking about, it resonates with me. When I hear that, I've read that there are some organizations that are larger that are able to create their own internal Upwork to be able to speak to potential projects that are going on within the workplace that people then can opt into with a percentage of their time to be able to, for example, grow in an area maybe they haven't had experience yet, as an opportunity for them to, try on something that they haven't tried on yet, and they wanted to just see if it might be an avenue they want to pursue, for example. These are really exciting, because now when we think about a position, often the work is going to change so quickly that it really isn't a full-time role anymore, and really it is truly projects with a specific start and end date.
And with specific skills
Yeah.
that continually change and that you need to have to be learning within the workflow. So, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but I was talking with I was talking with a HR tech founder, and he was talking about creating this well, I shouldn't say too much, it's kind of a secret, but creating this solution for resumes and for job descriptions. I'm like, well, in the future, are these things really, are they still going to exist? Are we still going to use resumes and job descriptions as we did, even just last year? So I question that again, like where we're going towards this really skills-based, project-based, no clear role description. It's like pop into wherever you think you want to be and learn.
Yeah.
So, and that's the future. So,
right. And if you had a pool of great talent where you are actually had the value, if the value proposition for that workplace is be able to train, because there's some things that are just innately you can't train. And if you had the opportunity to build those skills within the organization, and then you had these projects that people then could opt into, then you have the flexibility where they could take on numerous different projects. I could talk about this forever, because it opens up, it kind of breaks down everything and rebuilds it. Because if you have these skills that you're providing and giving the training to, then you open up a talent pool that maybe you wouldn't necessarily been able to hire for in the past. And how do we get away from recruiting just for experience and really to, do they have the capability to learn? Do they have do they have drive? Do they have what is specific to this company's just cause and to who we are as an organization? Will this person thrive here? Because we know if we hire the great characteristics, that then we can teach them this to skills to be able to apply to the projects that we would promote within this Upwork type environment.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, to have like a ever changing, ever upskilling talent pool that is, that's kind of like my thought and my image of like how the future of work will be, or how the future of organizations will work.
Kind of exciting.
Very exciting. Going to our audience here. So back to what we were talking about, mega trends. I already did this one, didn't I? Yeah,
yes.
Melissa. Yeah. Okay. So back to megatrends. Beth says, from technology is nice to have as to technology as a major transformational driver, 100%. And then John said, agree, people first, much like DEI now, needs to be a consistent aspect of what we're doing.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to actually, per John's comment there, I'm going to drop something in, is that DEI, DEIB, we're going to be talking tomorrow. I'm going to be talking with some diversity leaders about how DEIB may change to DFIS, which is diversity, fairness, inclusion, and sustainability.
Nice.
So I wanted to make that mention. There's not a lot of articles out there. There's not a lot of content out there about, but that'd be something that be very interesting to start putting content out, or to start looking for more content about how that acronym might change. So I can't take credit for that one. That one was kind of instilled in my head by Josh Burson. So. So everybody, we have a few more questions. So if you do have any questions for us, any questions for Mindy, let us know in the comments. We'll be ending in about 15 minutes or so for everyone to get them coffee or do a few things before your next meeting. So a few more questions for Mindy. What are some interesting HR and work tech solutions that you've been looking at that you've been following that have innovative solutions for 2022?
I have been very fascinated by same-day pay. So the concept of clock in, cash out. And one of the companies that has really that I've been researching in this space that I am really excited about is Claire. And they have a truly people first organization. The one of the founders truly his behaviors and his actions truly align with that people first statement. And just what they're doing, when you think about moving to what we were just talking about, a project based organization, projects with skill sets have a specific value and the hours spent in there. Can you imagine if you clocked in and cashed out on the projects that you're working on? So you're truly getting paid for the skills that you're utilizing per project. That could be fascinating. And people with the move to entrepreneurial work have gotten used to platforms that truly clock in and cash out, where they are paid on a more daily basis. And so to be able to re-incentivize workers to come back into a future workplace, same day pay may be an interesting attraction point and retention.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I was interested in same day pay more as a use case for the blockchain a few years ago, and that's kind of, we're still figuring all the blockchain and Ethereum out, and mining, like the big issue is mining, and having that verified. But I think these as to your point, companies like Claire are popping up because this is so important for, as you coin it, the entrepreneurial workforce, 100%. A few other companies that I know that do same day pay are, Daily Pay, and then, I forgot the other one. So what was at the tip of my tongue?
No, I can't remember either, but there's some like main platforms like Gusto even that's adding the ability to do same day pay. So you have these worthy rivals like Claire that are now like making kind of larger organizations that have been around for a while start to think about how they can incorporate that technology into their platforms, which is exciting and interesting to see too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Got a comment here from the audience. Melissa said, I would hate to lose equity in the DIA framework. So important. So that, and it does bring up a question, are we talking equity and fairness? Are they interchangeable, or do they mean different things? So if losing one, does that negate does that negate the idea of the other? So that's a great point to bring up. Hopefully we'll answer that tomorrow on the webinar.
I should join that one. That topic is super interesting.
Yeah, it is. So not to bring it off topic here, but I'm going to be talking with Dr. Charlie, Kristen Strunk and Dr. Charlie Cartwright. And Dr. Charlie Cartwright, one of his questions is about the diversity, fairness, inclusion and sustainability. So we'll see what he has to say on that.
Yeah.
So current topics that you're paying attention to and why? What current news topics are you paying attention to?
I think one that is that it keeps kind of, it's not, I wouldn't say it's new, but it's really around ethics, especially within artificial intelligence and how AI is now kind of prevalent in almost many of the HR technologies that we are purchasing for our organizations. And often these are woven into the platform, and we often don't think to ask about the ethical part of the AI. For example, AI needs to be trained. And so, what was the data that was used to train the AI? And how does that match or doesn't match our the employees within our ecosystem? Because we could be working against, if that data truly doesn't match our ecosystem, if it's not a diverse pool of data, then we just need to be mindful of that, and how is it being trained. And so there's some really like key questions that I think we need to start to become aware of as HR professionals from an ethical standpoint, to think about the technology that we're introducing to make sure it's actually doing what we're purchasing it to do. Like, the intent is for good, and we just want to make sure that it truly is going to meet empower that objective and those outcomes.
So, do you think when we start talking more about NFTs and the metaverse, that this conversation about ethics and AI is going to take a back seat, and we're going to be starting talking more about ethics in the metaverse?
I know, it's super like fascinating because like I think ethics is going to be like is ever more at the forefront of everything, and the metaverse with ethics and like what is and what you cannot do there, and like what are the boundaries. You see this even within content platforms, and how do you or not monitor the content on the platforms, and what is our ethical stance there, and how do we manage that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, ever more important within the metaverse. I think it's interesting within the metaverse. I often think, how, from an accessibility standpoint, how do people maybe who are visually impaired interact within a metaverse? And I just don't know enough about it, but I just find it fascinating. It's something that I've been wanting to look more into and learn more about.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I used to think of like the metaverse as like, oh, whatever, it's not like too interesting. I have no interest in being an avatar. I have no interest in goggles all day. But it's really starting to kind of pique my interest. I still don't think I want to be an avatar, and I don't want to be like in this virtual reality, but the
Yeah.
use cases for it are really interesting me.
Right. And how does like a blind person interact within that
Mhm.
universe? And how do we make sure that they have the space and a voice within that, if that truly is our future, and how we'll be interacting? And then how do we as humans truly build meaningful connection? I think, that's another topic that I'm always kind of like a current topic around meaningful connection, and how disconnected people feel right now. And how can we make sure that as we think about communities and we re-enter back into communities, and then in everything that we're doing, that we really are intentional and meaningful to make sure that we're building bridges versus breaking those down.
Agreed, agreed. And I do hope that everybody on the stream today does feel connected with Mindy and I, and that you're in this conversation with us. That's, of having the aim of talking about progressive HR topics and work tech and HR tech. It's also building that community and letting people know that, join us, biweekly Tuesday to have this conversation, and we'd love to hear your opinions. So, yes. So actually, the last question I had for you was about digital transformation is accelerated by the pandemic. So what's next? And you just answered it with your
Oh yeah,
conversation
I did. I'm
about
sorry.
building community. No, no, no. Perfect, perfect. It's like we're flowing. We've got the feeling. Even though we're virtual, we're having that bond right now. I
It
appreciate
is true.
that. And I was just looking over at the phone here, and we're getting lots of likes and celebrations for that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Well, some of the names that are on are already great thought leaders that I've seen on there. Like, so I'm super excited for everyone to join.
Yeah, I've seen to call out Beth. She's been very engaged and active as we've been putting the promotion out for the live. So thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. Anyone has any last questions for Mindy or myself? Now's the time because we're flowing into that summary. So as we are waiting for any last questions, I will let you know that you can follow Melinda Honkoop on LinkedIn. She has great content. Melinda, is there any, how else can people connect with you? Follow you, DM you?
Yeah, they can follow me on LinkedIn, direct message me, please. Like, I love connecting with people. You can tell I don't have a problem talking. I could talk forever, and I love meeting new people. And no question is a stupid question. And I love hearing different points of view and bringing people together. So please do follow me, or if there's anything that kind of popped into your mind after hearing this conversation that you would love to just set up some time to talk about a little bit further, I'd be happy to find time and chat with you.
Yes, excellent, excellent. And then to that point, if you're interested in any of the articles or of any of the points of conversation that Mindy and I were talking about, and you wanted to get a link to that, shoot me or Mindy a DM, and we can shoot you over the links to the articles we were talking about today. So, whoa, blast of comments here. Just keep going up here. So Beth says, agreed, ethics is integral to all discussions on AI and emerging tech. Lisa, who joined us, great jobs. Thanks, Lisa.
Lisa.
Zena, oh, I love that name. Interesting stuff. No questions. Thanks for hosting. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. John Horn says, thank you, John. And from Kathy Wright, great session. And thanks for sharing the knowledge. Kamal, appreciate that. And Ben says, very informative. Thank you. Okay. So you, of course, can follow me, Corinne Woodman-Holobic, Progressive HR, and or hashtag Resourceful Humans on LinkedIn. And please subscribe to my content. That's a new feature from LinkedIn. You go to someone's profile, and there's a little bell in the right-hand corner. If you click on that, you can subscribe, but you have to follow or connect with that person to subscribe to that person's content. So this is an interesting new feature that LinkedIn just launched last week.
Wow. Learning something new every moment.
Yeah. They've got a lot more interesting things coming down the pipeline. I'm a beta tester for some of the things that they have coming.
It's cool.
Which reminds me, I have audio events, but I haven't figured out how I want to use them yet. And then Beth says, great info to digest. Thanks for sharing your time, Mindy and Corinne. Thanks, Beth. Appreciate it. And then lastly, so I did mention that Robert Brown is coming on Progressive HR Live next bi-week. So on February 15th, and we're going to be talking about human experience technology, the modern approach to employee listening. And that, of course, same time, same place, 11 a.m. CST, 12 p.m. EST. And so, Mindy, thank you so much for joining me on Progressive HR Live today. Appreciate you very much for sharing your time and your talents with the community. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thanks. And audience, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you had so many different things that are attracting your attention and pulling you away. For you guys to spend your 45 minutes with Mindy and I today, we greatly appreciate it, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Oh, we got another comment coming in. Oh, Brenda says, thank you so much. Enjoyed the discussion, variety of ideas shared. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Brenda. She's lovely. She's a superpower.
I think I've connected with Brenda. So
she's amazing.
Awesome. I'll go subscribe to her content. I'll click the bell. Audience, if you think of anybody that is interested in ideas in work tech and HR tech, please share this replay with them. As well, let them know to join us for Progressive HR Live, which is every other biweekly Tuesday at 11 a.m. CST. And John says, nice job. Great to stretch the brain midday. Oh, agreed. Agreed.
Another great HR superpower. I feel like I got an MBA from John. All the best books.
Excellent. All right. So everyone, that's it. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Have a wonderful Tuesday and have a great Chinese Lunar New Year. All the wishes, all the best for everyone. All right, guys.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks, Resourceful Humans. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.